in your opinion, what are the key skills and competencies that leaders need to create a thriving organizational culture? I can see you smiling. I suspect you're just going to say as above.
Can we talk about emotions?
Yeah,
You know,
okay.
what's really interesting, no, but let me answer this really.
Mm-hmm,
What's really interesting about this to me is it is 100% about emotional intelligence.
mm-hmm.
And I remember, you know, my daughter's now 30. My son died when he was 22, almost 4 years ago. And I remember standing with the parents in the elementary school playground talking about, you know, this kind of new conversation people were having and how was this going to impact the school system, right? Like, which was more important? Was it EQ or IQ? We've been talking about this for a long time. We have all sat through the workshops. We've read the books. It's time to put it in action.
Mm-hmm.
And
Right.
yes, as above.
There's something to add nuance that's important. Like the 1 in 5 stat is mind-blowing to me, and it also
Yeah.
depends how you operationalize what grief is. Because I'm thinking, and that's why I qualified my own question was that really major grief that is life disrupting. In my case, it
That's the 1 in
was
5. So the stat, the 1 in 5, 1 in 8, that is the loss of a loved one. That's not the expanded definition.
wow,
That's loss
wow.
of a loved
Thank
one.
you for clarifying that.
Yeah, that's loss of a loved
Because
one, that stat.
right. For
Yeah.
me, it was two friends of mine, my roommates at the
Mhm.
time. They were in a small plane, a Cessna, coming over the
Oh,
mountains
wow.
from BC. So they came, I was living in Calgary, and they were returning. They did a day trip to somewhere in central BC, right? Then they were
Yeah.
coming back over the mountains and they just didn't return.
Yeah.
So, and of course, and this is an important thing, it definitely transforms your life, both good and bad. That
Yeah.
is, you have a level and understanding of compassion that now I understand something I couldn't possibly have understood any other way but going through it. And
Hmm.
even though there are other people, loved ones I've lost since, but that was then and still now the most impactful
Yeah.
because it was out of the blue. Just the fact that you're talking about 1 in 5, it would be really helpful and useful for everybody to go, not only are you not alone, but
Yeah.
if there's more than 5 people in your organization, there's probably one other person who does it. And so, because that is, you do have that feeling like nobody else understands what I feel unless they went
100%.
through this. And I guess the rarity that I perceive is an individual thing. That is, there probably aren't many of those specific experiences in our individual life. Isn't, it isn't 1 in 5 days or 1 in 5 years likely,
Right.
but across people. But as far as you're concerned, it's like, this is rare. It's only happened to me once or twice in my life. So then it feels, from that perspective, from an individual perspective, it feels like it's rare, but 1 in 5
Yeah.
shocks me. But then it would also make it okay to say, I got you, I understand. I can't
Yeah.
I can't do your grieving for you, but I'm here if you need to talk about it because I also understand. Because I'll tell you, you definitely feel wholly and completely alone, that nobody else.
Yeah. But
But
that's also how the culture is set up.
at least my experience of grief is better to know, as much as people go, oh my God, I don't
Hmm.
want to know when that somebody's going to die. It's easier as a griever, better to know well in advance in terms of the challenge than to, is like, they left and we got a phone call at 10 at night from Transport Canada. And
Yeah.
as soon as that call came in, I knew they were gone. Of course, they're going, well, don't give up hope, is like, I just know.
Yeah.
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 So
And that
that's
time
harder.
can be really valuable. You know, those circumstances when we do know, when someone gets a terminal diagnosis or, you know, something like that happens, can be really helpful for the grieving process if you use that time
Right.
to process some emotions, right? And to have some conversations and to,
Right.
you know, make amends if that's necessary on whichever side. And if you have spent that time in denial, it can make it worse.
Yeah, I was actually
It's all
thinking
about
as
how
you
you
said
spend
that,
the
I was like,
time, right?
yeah, yeah. Actually, I'm going to give you the option.
You get the answer. I want a randomizer. Let's go with the
Okay.
randomizer.
Oh, okay. Well, this is still very related.